Hello, everybody. This is Evolve Global 22's Healing Light Studio and our Healing Circle. Feel better daily. Welcome back. We made it to episode 4 this week. And before I get into today's episode, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for showing up for the entire series. Thank you for caring enough about yourself to sit with this information, to let it land, and to ask yourself the hard questions. That is not a small thing. That, my friends, takes courage. Now, if you're just finding this series today, please go back and start from episode 1. We have covered so much ground in this series, and today's episode builds on everything we've already talked about. You are going to want that foundation. But if you've been here with me from the beginning, you already know that we have talked about what changes in your body after 40. We have talked about hormones, gut health, inflammation. We've talked about bones, muscle, metabolism, and skin. And today we are going to the root of all of it. Today we are talking about the thing that underlies every single topic we have covered in this series. The thing that no supplement can fix, no skin care routine can address, and no workout plan can overcome. No diet in the world can heal. It is left unaddressed. We are talking about your emotional health, your inner world, the stories you've been telling yourself, the wounds you are still carrying, the relationships you've been tolerating, the stress you have been normalizing, the grief that you have never fully processed, the version of yourself you have been waiting for permission to become. Because here's what I know after 30 years of working with people and walking with my own healing journey. You do everything right on the outside. You can take all the right supplements, eat all the right foods, do all the right workouts, follow every piece of advice from every wellness expert on the internet. And if your inner world is in chaos, your body will reflect that chaos every single time. This is episode 4, the final episode of Wellness After 40, what your 20 self needed to hear. And I saved this one for last on purpose because this is the foundation. This is the root. This is the piece that changes everything else when you finally get it. Let's go deep. Are you ready? I want to do something. Sorry, days are long, my friends. I want you to do something with me for a moment. I want you to think back to your 20s. Close your eyes if you need to. Think about the relationships that drained you, the ones that took everything and gave back very little, the ones where you kept showing up and shrinking yourself to make someone else comfortable. Think about the jobs that stressed you out, the environments that were toxic, the places where you were undervalued, overlooked, or treated as less than you were. Think about the family dynamics that were heavy, the things that happened in your home growing up that you never fully dealt with, the patterns that played out again and again that you did not yet have the tools to change. Think about the financial pressure, the identity confusion, the loneliness that you maybe did not have even words for, the fear that lived underneath so much of your daily life. Think, my friends, about the times you pushed through things that were breaking you because you did not think you had another option, because you did not know how to ask for help, because asking for help felt like weakness, because you were taught to be strong and strong meant silent. Now, I need you to understand something. All of that stress, every single bit of it, had a real, measurable biological impact on your body. This is not a metaphor. This is not self-help language. This is physiology. When you experience chronic stress, your body activates what's called the fight or flight response. Your nervous system floods your body with cortisol and adrenaline. Your heart rate increases. Your digestion slows or shuts down. Your immune system is suppressed. Your reproductive hormones are disrupted. Your sleep is compromised. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for rational thinking, emotional regulation, and decision making, becomes less effective. When this stress response is activated occasionally for a real threat, a real emergency, your body handles it. You recover. But when it is active activated chronically for months, for years, for decades, the damage accumulates in ways that eventually show up as physical illness. There's a body of research called the Adverse Childhood Experiences Study, the ACE study. And what it showed us clearly and undeniably is that childhood and young adult trauma dramatically increases the risk of chronic illness, heart disease, autoimmune conditions, cancer, mental health disorders, hormonal dysfunction, premature aging, and shortened life expectancy. The stress you carried in your 20s is not behind you, it is in you. It is living in your nervous system, in your gut, in your hormones, in your immune system, in your cells. And your body at 40, in many ways, the physical manifestation of the emotional experiences of your 20s and 30s. This is not meant to scare you. It is meant to help you understand what your body is actually asking for when it breaks down. Because it is not asking for another supplement. It is not asking for a stricter diet. It is asking for healing, real, deep, emotional healing. Now, I want to get really specific here because I think when we talk about the mind-body connection, it can sound abstract. It can sound like something soft and unscientific. It is not, my friends. The research on this is robust and has been growing for decades. Let me give you some specific examples of how unprocessed emotions show up in the physical body. Unprocessed grief tends to live in the chest and lungs. Many people who experience significant loss and who never really grieve it develop respiratory issues, tightness in the chest, a persistent heaviness in the body that never quite lifts, a feeling of constriction around the heart. Unprocessed anger tends to live in the liver, the jaw, the neck, the shoulders, and the gut. A woman especially have been socialized to suppress anger, to be pleasant, to be accommodating, to keep the peace no matter what it costs them. And that suppressed anger has to go somewhere. It does not just disappear, it goes inward. It turns into headaches, jaw tension, digestive problems, chronic muscle tension, and over time it contributes to autoimmune conditions where the body literally turns on itself. Unprocessed fears tends to live in the kidneys and the adrenal glands. Chronic anxiety, the kind that runs quietly in the background like a program that never closes, keeps your adrenals in a constant state of activation. And the adrenal fatigue that results is real. It is exhausting and it affects every system in your body. Unprocessed shame and unworthiness tend to live in the gut. The gut brain connection is so powerful that emotional pain is felt viscerally, literally in your stomach and intestines. The nausea before a difficult conversation, the knot in your stomach when you feel judged, the digestive issues that flare up during periods of emotional stress. Your gut is your emotional processing center as much as your digestive one. And unprocessed trauma, whether it is big with a capital T trauma from major events or little small t trauma from chronic experiences of not being enough, not being safe, not being seen, not being loved the way you needed to be loved, that lives in the nervous system. It gets encoded in your body's threat detection system. It changes how you perceive danger. It changes how you relate to other people. It changes how you regulate your emotions, and it changes how your immune system, your hormonal system, and your inflammatory response function on a daily basis. Dr. Bessel van der Kolk wrote a landmark book called The Body Keeps the Score. And that title says absolutely everything. Your body keeps score. Every experience, every wound, every moment of joy, and every moment of pain. Every time you were held and every time you were abandoned. Every time you spoke your truth and every time you swallowed it. It is all in there. And by 40, if none of it has been addressed, the score is high and your body is ready to settle it, not to punish you, but to heal. I want to address something directly because I know there are people watching this who are skeptical of the mind-body connection, who have been taught that emotions and physical health are separate things, that real medicine is biological and everything else is just feelings. I understand that perspective. I was raised in systems that taught that too, but the science does not support it anymore. The field of psychoneuroimmunology, which is the study of the interaction between your psychological state, your nervous system, and your immune system, has given us decades of clear, peer-reviewed, replicable evidence that your thoughts, your emotions, and your beliefs have direct and measurable effects on your physical health. Let me give you some of the research that I find most compelling. Chronic loneliness and social isolation have been shown to carry the same mortality risk as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Not metaphorically, statistically, loneliness kills. And yet we live in one of the loneliest cultures in human history. Gratitude practices, genuinely cultivating a sense of appreciation and positive connection, has measurable positive effects on immune function, cardiovascular health, sleep quality, and longevity, not because it feels nice, but because it changes your biology. Mindfulness meditation has been shown through neuroimaging studies to literally change the physical structure of your brain. It increases gray matter density in the prefrontal cortex, the area associated with emotional regulation, rational decision making, and compassion. It reduces the size and reactivity of the amygdala, your brain's fear and threat detection center. These are structured changes visible in a brain scan. Purpose. Having a clear sense of meaning and reason to get up in the morning is one of the strongest predictions of healthy aging across every culture and population that has been studied. People with a strong sense of purpose live longer, have lower rates of chronic disease, recover faster from illness, and maintain cognitive function longer. And the research on social connection as medicine is overwhelming. Strong, reciprocal, honest relationships are one of the most powerful predictors of health and longevity, and we have ever identified. More powerful than diet, more powerful than exercise, more powerful than almost any medical intervention. This is not soft science. This is hard biology. Your inner world is running your body, full stop. I want to paint a picture because I have spent decades working with women, walking alongside women in their healing, watching what happens when women do the inner work and watching what happens when they do not. And the difference is undeniable. There are women who arrive at 40 feeling vital, energized, clear, grounded, comfortable in their bodies, at peace with who they are and where they are going, excited, genuinely excited about what the second half of their life holds. Women who look in the mirror and feel something other than disappointment. Women who have relationships that feel safe and reciprocal and life-giving. Women who know who they are, what they value, and what they are not willing to compromise on anymore. And there are women who arrive at 40 feeling depleted, disconnected, inflamed, hormonally chaotic, emotionally exhausted from decades of giving more than they received, grieving the body they feel they have lost, grieving the years they feel were taken from them, disconnected from themselves in ways they cannot quite name but feel deeply every single day. The difference between these two groups of women is not luck. It is not primarily genetics. It is not primarily money or access or privilege, though those things matter. The most significant difference, the one I have watched play over and over and over again, is what they did with their inner world in their 20s and 30s. The women who thrive at 40 got into therapy or coaching early, before crisis forced them to. They did not wait until they were broken to ask for help. They invested in their inner world proactively. They understood that understanding themselves was not a luxury, it was a foundation. They set boundaries in their relationships, in their careers, in their families. They learned, sometimes painfully, that it is possible to disappoint people and survive, that their worth was not determined by how much they could give or how little space they took up. They built their lives around their values and instead of around everyone else's expectations of them. They built meaningful community. They invested in friendships that were mutual, honest, and consistent. They showed up for their people and they were allowed their people to show up for them. They did not wait until they were lonely and desperate for connection to start building it. They developed a practice that brought them home to themselves, whether through prayer, through meditation, through nature, through journaling, through creative expression, through their faith community. They had a way of accessing something deeper than their circumstances, a way of coming back to themselves when life pulled them off center. They processed their grief and their trauma, not all at once, not perfectly, but consistently and courageously. They chose to face their wounds rather than run from them, numb them, or project them onto everyone around them. And in doing so, they stopped letting those wounds run their lives from the background. And they gave themselves permission to grow, to change, to outgrow situations and relationships and versions of themselves that no longer fit. They did not stay back or stay stuck out of fear or obligation or because change felt like too much. They kept becoming. This is what thriving at 40 looks like on the inside. And I want that for you. I want that so much for every single woman watching this. So here's the roadmap, your gift to yourself. The things I wish someone had told me when I was young enough to build them into the foundation of my life. Number one, get into therapy or coaching now. Do not do this alone. We have a community on Patreon. I'm here for you. But reach out and get the help that you need and the support. Not when you're in crisis, not when your marriage is falling apart or your health is breaking down or your anxiety is so bad you cannot function. Now, while you have bandwidth, while things are manageable, while you can do the deep work proactively instead of reactively. Therapy and coaching and getting support is not a sign of weakness. It is one of the most intelligent, courageous, and high return investments you will ever make in your health, in your relationships, in your career, in your sense of self, in the generational patterns you will or will not pass on to your children. Find a good quality therapist or coach or support system. Do the work. It will change your life in ways you cannot yet imagine. Number two, my friends, learn to feel your feelings, all of them: anger, grief, fear, shame, loneliness, disappointment, joy, excitement, love, all of it. Learn to identify what you are feeling. Learn to notice where you feel it in your body. Learn to move through your emotions instead of around them, without numbing them with food or alcohol or scrolling or staying perpetually busy, without bypassing them with toxic positivity, without projecting them onto the people around you. Emotional literacy is a skill. It is learnable, and it is one of the most life-changing skills you will ever develop. The woman who can feel their feelings fully and move through them, those women are free in a way that women who suppress and bypass simply are not. Number three, set boundaries early and consistently. The relationships and environments you allow in your 20s will shape the health of your nervous system for decades. Be honest with yourself about what is draining you, what is depleting you, what is asking you to be smaller or quieter or less than you actually are. And learn to say no. Learn to communicate your needs clearly without apology. Learn that you are allowed to take up space, that your needs matter, that disappointing someone is survivable, that the right relationships, the ones worth having, will not require you to abandon yourselves to maintain them. Number four, build your community intentionally. Loneliness is a health crisis, and it is a quiet one. You can be surrounded by people and still feel profoundly lonely. The antidote is not more people. It is deeper, more honest, more reciprocal connection with the right people. Invest in friendships that go below the surface. Show up consistently. Be the kind of friend you want to have. Let people see the real you, not just the curated, performing everything in fine version. Allow yourself to be known and allow yourself to know others. Build the kind of community in your 20s that you want to be held by in your 40s and your 50s and beyond. Number 5, develop a practice that brings you home to yourself. In a world that is constantly pulling your attention outward towards screens, towards noise, toward other people's opinions and expectations and demands, you need a practice that brings you back to yourself regularly and reliably. Journaling, meditation, prayer, breath work, walking in nature, creative expression, sitting in silence, whatever it is, find it. Do it daily if you can, even for 5 minutes, because a woman who knows herself, who has a deep practice relationship with her own inner world, that woman is not easily shaken. She knows what she values. She knows what she needs. She knows who she is beneath all the roles and the noise. And she can come back to that knowing no matter what life throws at her. Number 6, decide who you want to be and start becoming her now. Do not wait until 40 to start living intentionally. Do not wait until burnout forces you to reassess everything. Do not wait until your body breaks down or your relationships fall apart or a crisis strips away everything that was not real before you ask yourself, before you ask yourself, what kind of life do I actually want to be living? Start asking that question now. Start making choices that are aligned with the woman you want to become. Start investing in your health, your relationships, your healing, and your growth before you desperately need to. Start choosing yourself, not instead of the people you love, but alongside them, because taking care of yourself is not selfish. It is how you show up fully for everyone and everything that matters to you. The woman you want to be at 40 is being built right now in every choice you make, in every boundary you set or do not set, in every relationship you invest in or walk away from, in every moment you choose yourself or abandon yourself, in every time you ask for help or suffer in silence, in every time you process your pain or bury it deeper. She is built right now. Build her well, my friends. We have come so far together in this series. In episode 1, we talked about what actually changes after 40 and why it starts in your 20s. Why the body you are living in right now is a result of decades of buildup, not a sudden betrayal. In episode 2, we went deep into hormones, gut health, and inflammation, the silent shifts that begin long before you feel them and that drive so much of what women in their 40s struggle with every single day. In episode 3, we talked about bones, muscle, metabolism, and skin, the physical structures of your body that were built or broken down by the choices of your 20s. And today we went to the root, the emotional body, the inner world, the part of you that is running everything else, whether you are aware of it or not. Here is what I want you to take away from all of it. You are not a passive recipient of aging. You are not at the mercy of your genetics or your past choices that you made before you knew better. You are an active participant in your own health, in your own healing, in your own becoming. And whether you are 22 or 42 or somewhere between, it is not too late to make choices that your future self will deeply be grateful for. Your body wants to heal. Your nervous system wants to regulate. Your hormones want to balance. Your gut wants to be restored. Your emotions want to be felt and processed and released. Your soul wants to be expressed fully and freely. Give yourself permission to begin. Not when everything is perfect, not when you have more time or more money or more energy or more courage. Now, my friends, with what you have, where you are, as you are. Because the most powerful thing you can do for your health at any age is to decide that you are worth taking care of it. And you are. You absolutely are. If this series has meant something to you, please share it with your daughter, your sister, your best friend, your colleague, the woman in her 20s who has no idea what her body is building right now and deserves to know. The woman in her 40s who has been struggling and wondering what is wrong with her and deserves to finally understand. The information belongs to all of us. Share it like it does. Leave me a comment and tell me which episode in this series hit you the hardest. Which moment made you stop and think? Which piece of information are you going to take into your life starting today? I genuinely want to know. I read every single comment, and your words matter to me. Subscribe if you have not already, because we have so much more coming. This is just the beginning of what we are building here together. And from the very bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you for trusting me with your time and your attention. Thank you for showing up for yourself. Thank you for caring about your health, your healing, and your life. This is not ordinary. That is everything. I will see you in the next series in our healing circle next week. Remember, I do a full replay of the healing circle episodes all in one video format, and it streams on Friday. But remember, take care of your whole self, my friends, body, mind, emotions, and spirit, all of it. You deserve to thrive, not just survive, not just get through, but truly, fully, beautifully thrive. I believe that for you. Now start believing it yourself. And before I actually close, if this resonated with you, join us on Patreon. You don't have to do this alone. And then, really quick, I want to share what I use in my medicine cabinet: Agara Cafe, a functional coffee, and doTERRA essential oils. I say this at the end of almost every video, and it's in the description and in first comment. Start building your medicine cabinet today. Start with Agara Cafe and some essential oils from doTERRA. The links are in the description and the first comment. On that note, my friends, peace, love, and light. I will see you next week in the circle.